I think it's safe to say that most Americans have never been to Disneyland or Disney World. I've been to Disney World in Orlando twice now. The first time we went to one was when I was 10 years old. Me and my family just returned from our second trip as a family 10 years later. We went during February, so it was relatively quiet in all parks. We did go to all four parks. We started at the Hollywood Studios, the Epcot, then the Animal Kingdom, and finally Magic Kingdom. I had a great time until I went to Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain is one of the more popular rides in Disney World. I remember it being my favorite 10 years ago. Since we left all the other parks relatively early, we decided to stay at the Magic Kingdom until midnight. After the nightly fireworks, the park started really quiet down. Basically to the point that the park was dead. We got on a few attractions with no lines. My little brother, who was 13, was really getting into the spirit. He was wearing mouse ears and a bright green Mickey Mouse shirt. Me and my older brother teased him about things throughout the day. Somehow we were so busy that it wasn't until around 11:30 at night that I remember that we hadn't even gone on Splash Mountain. I rang my family, but my parents reminded me that the ride closed at 11. Since we were already in the Frontierland, which is the section of the park Splash Mountain was in, I convinced my family to check anyway. I wanted to have my family to try at the same time. When I arrived to the Splash Mountain area, there wasn't a soul inside other than the guy manning the entrance. He informed me that the ride closes when the park closes. I had a feeling I was right, but I suddenly felt the urge to pee, so I called out to my family, who was still approaching the entrance, to wait while I went to the bathroom. Conveniently, there was one right next to the entrance. I'll spare you the details, but after I returned to the entrance of the ride, my family was gone. I called for them, walking around cluelessly, but there wasn't even a response. I turned back to the entrance to ask the worker who was standing there if he saw where they went, but he was gone too. I was about to take out my phone and call them when suddenly I heard sound of two members laughing from down the entrance to the ride. What the hell are they doing? I thought. They're not planning on going out of the ride without me, are they? I ran out of the cave-like entrance in the ride, but the sounds of members laughing didn't seem to get any closer. I called for my parents for my brothers, but they didn't respond. How could they not hear me? I made it to the room where you board the longboats, but there were no employees anywhere in sight. But what I did see was one of the boats leaving the boarding room, and I could see the little brother in his green shirt passenger staring in the back seat of one of them. He was next to somebody else, probably my older brother. I screamed their names in anger, but they didn't hear me. I couldn't understand why they were going away without me. Another boat was not in the room, so I hopped onto it since there were no employees to tell me otherwise. I was on the next boat behind my family. As I slithered out of the room and eventually outside, I could see my family ahead of me. I didn't make sense. I wasn't too far behind them to start with. How fast could their boat be going? I saw mixed emotions, mostly confusion and anger. As the ride slowly progressed, until I finally entered the cave with all the singing robots. I guess when the action really begins, this is when things began to get strange. Well, stranger. The first things I was greeted by were a bunch of giant singing birds. I remember these things from 10 years ago. As they sang their song, their heads slowly turned to constantly face the boat. And all their eyes seemed to lock onto mine. I didn't remember them doing this last time. It was very unsettling, seeing those things looking at me as if they were actually aware of my presence. I just assumed it was just some updated technology to add to the atmosphere of the ride. After all, it was Disney. Sitting all alone on this ride, I felt uncomfortable. I know it's a Disney ride, but you wouldn't understand. Being on a dark and slow ride all alone at this time of night, with seeming nobody around, it's just a very unsettling feeling. After the birds, I have slowly approached Brer Fox and Brer Bear, who were secretly plotting to capture Brer Rabbit. See, if you know anything about this ride, you would know that you're entertained throughout by animatronics versions of the characters in the movie Song of the South. Specifically, Hungry Fox's dim-witted henchman Bear, who constantly makes goofy attempts to capture a rabbit for a quick snack. Anyway, back to ride. Normally, Brer Bear would be carrying around a big wooden club, but instead of animatronic, he was holding an axe. And instead of his normally goofy appearance, he had a more intimidating look that was definitely not child-friendly. And sitting on his shoulders was a Brer Fox, only a much more evil and scary version. He had much sharper teeth, and instead of his kid-friendly smile, it was a much more disturbing face. A clearly unhappy and resentful face. Upon getting closer, I could see that the Black Fox had a large knife in his hand. The two animatronics began speaking, or at least the writing audio provided sounds of the characters speaking, but the voices were also off. The bear was so muffled and distorted that it was incomprehensible. The voice of the fox, it almost sounded demonic. The background music was too loud for me to make out. Anything being said, though. I both passed the two characters, only to, only to approach them equally unsettling. There was Brer Rabbit, but instead of singing like I knew he did, he was just sitting on top of a broken mailbox. Instead of his normal happy face, he had a depressed face with bloodshot eyes and a red stain on his pink shirt. Presumably blood. This wasn't right. Disney would do something like this. I didn't want to be on that ride anymore. I shouted for my family in hopes that they might hear me, but there was no response. The song switched to Latin Kid song, but it sounded different. It didn't have that cheerful feel to it. At this point, every single electronic character on site was making direct eye contact with me. They were not cheerful, kid-friendly faces, though. They were angry, hateful faces. This has to be a joke, I thought. I must be going crazy or something. They wouldn't do something like this. Not at a kid's park. The next time I saw the main characters, it was even worse. Bear Fox was waving his arm in anger and yelling to the principal Bear, whose act was now covered in blood. The first thought that came up was whose or what's blood. Then I saw what that Bear Fox was actually waving something in his hand. It was a dismembered arm, the other Bear Rabbit. In front of the two robots was a blood trail, a blood trail that looked too real. It all looked too real. But I could see fake blood dripping out of the prop that the fox was holding. It had to be fake blood, I thought to myself. Before the exited section of the ride, there was one more interesting scene. Bear Rabbit limping across the field with a trail of blood following him. It didn't make sense. The blood actually dripped on the floor and carried behind him. How can it be unless someone feels the blood every time a boat passes by? But by this time, it was pointless to try and rationalize any of this. All I wanted was to get off with this ride and see the first reaction. After this, finally came the most anticipated part of the ride, which was the big drop. The boat climbed to an angle and began to climb up the hill. At this point, anybody would be excited, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was so focused on what I had just seen on a Disney ride. As I neared the top of the hill, there was one more scene waiting at the side. The line over 10 years ago, it was bringing attended to a pole over a fire begging to welcome a Bear Fox. By this time, it was the most absurd thing I'd ever seen in my life. Bear Rabbit was still seen tied to a pole over the fire, but Brave Bear was also there this time, with Bear Fox standing right beside him. The bear raised his axe high in the air, and as one swift and almost realistic motion, he swung the axe straight through Bear Rabbit's neck, slicing his head clean off. Fake blood sprayed out from that thing as the head fell to the floor. The red liquid even sprayed onto my face. That's when I smelt it, the metallic smell that blood gives off. It was real blood. I started to gag, in disgust and shock, ready to throw up. The head hit the ground with a loud thud and then rolled into the water. Suddenly, all the lights in the ride went off. All the background noises stopped and it was pitch dark inside. All I could see was the hint of moonlight coming from the top of the hill, and that coming from behind me, even over the sounds of the rails. Oh boy, where was I? Right. Pulling the boat up from the hill. While moving down the hill, I could hear the sound of heavy splashing coming from the bottom. The kind of splashing you would hear from somebody running through water. I turned around to see nothing but darkness behind me, but the splash was getting louder just as it reached the top of the left hill. I could see a giant humanoid figure, probably 8 feet tall, begin to run up the left hill. As it ran closer, it stretched out its long arms, seemingly ready to pull me out of this boat. The shock of it all prevented me from being able to know any of its features before dropping down to the bottom of the hill outside. What did I just see? I must be going crazy. What the fuck was that? I thought it was all a dream. I pinched myself. I even slapped myself in the face a few times, but it was real. Whatever. I was outside now. This was my chance to get off this nut house ride. I looked for any place to climb over the fake rock walls, but all the walls were covered by big spikes. They weren't just even just decorative over they weren't just even just decorative props. These things looked dangerously sharp. Hell, they even looked deadly. and they covered every single imaginable place to climb out. It was like I was in a really giant patch. It was like these spikes were put here to prevent anybody from escaping the ride. I put on my phone, turned on the flashlight to see if it was safe to even hop out of the boat. I shined the flashlight down into the water, feeling even more spikes under the water. There was no way out at all. I screamed at the top of my lungs for help, but there was nobody around. It was pointless. I continued to constantly glance over my shoulder to make sure that the thing that I saw wasn't behind me, and with that I slimmered back into the case of the ride, where I was greeted by the Zippity Doo Dah song, only it was a much slower, depressive version. The first thing I was greeted by after the ride into the cave was a big sign hanging over my head reading, "Rest in peace, Brer Rabbit." And to the right were countless animatronics, ranging from frogs to chickens to ducks, all dressed in black, apparently mourning at the death of Brer Rabbit. Suddenly, the boat came to a sudden stop, and all the background music stopped along with the motors and the water flow, leaving nothing but utter silence. I focused my attention to the dozens of animatronic characters who were now all frozen and apparently turned off. I turned away, scanning the room for any actual living beings or some kind of exit. I again resorted to shouting for help, but of course I did no good. Just as I was ready to give up trying to escape the ride, my luck finally seemed to change as I saw a glowing red text of an exit sign, slightly hidden behind a big rock. That was my way out. There were no spikes in here. I took a more glance over my shoulder to make sure nothing was behind me. That's when I saw something I had heard full vision. I didn't want to look, but I forced myself to turn around and see that the dozens of morning animatronic was rolled their heads to face me. But whatever was doing this didn't let me witness this for more than a few seconds when the lights went out inside the cave, once again leaving me in complete darkness and silence. Even though it was rather cold inside, I felt myself starting to sweat and I could feel my heart punching the inside of my chest. Then, the sound of heavy footsteps coming from the platform broke the silence. I found myself hanging on the edge of the boat, just getting to think about getting out of the boat. The footsteps stopped right at the edge of the platform and the boat started to rock back and forth. Something got into the boat. I leaned against the wall in shock and horror, still as a statue. The thoughts that I grabbed my foot the second I tried to hop out of the boat haunted my mind, paralyzing me in that position. I stayed still like this, not even moving my arm to itch for what felt like 10 minutes. My eyes were somewhat just to the dark, but I refused to turn my head to see what was behind me.